Hi YouTube, welcome to the Spiritual Gateway YouTube channel. In this pick a card, we're going to be looking at which past life you are going to be healing in 2024. So to help you choose your piles, I have placed little animals on each one. So for pile 1, we have the elephant. For pile 2, the duck. And for pile 3, the whale. I have also provided the timestamps in the description for you. Hi pile 1, so if you chose the elephant, this is your reading. So what past life is coming up for healing for you in 2024? So you will have lived many past lives, but the past life that we're going to be talking about today is the one that has been impacting you quite a lot. In this life, and that in 2024 it's finally coming up to be released and be healed. The first card we have is Egyptian Connection, Ancient Past. We have the Pioneer, Bethany, which reads, when you take excellent care of yourself, everybody benefits. Give yourself a relaxing treat today, such as a massage, sea salt bath or a pedicure. Moving, mysticism, and adjudication. So what I'm getting from this is that the past life that we are referring to today, it's from a very long time ago. I know it says Egyptian connection, and it could well be an Egyptian past life, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It means that it is from a very, very long time ago, and I feel it's from a time when there was a lot of hierarchy in the way that you had the big people, the little people. So you either were creating the rules or you were following the rules. And if you were somebody that was following the rules, then obviously that your life would have been very restricted, and there would be healing in that area needed. But also on the same hand, if you were the person that was making the rules and dictating, there still could be healing from that as well, because there could be karma that you need to sort of be playing out again now to fix that. I do feel in this past life that you were female, so that doesn't matter whether you're male or female in this life, but in the past life that we're referring to here, I do feel it was a female past life. And because of that as well, I feel that even if you were somebody that was highly regarded, there probably could have been still a lot of restriction on that life for you just because you were female. And I think that's the main kind of aspect of what's going to be healed in this life in 2024 is going to be around this restrictive energy. So because we have the Pioneer card here as well, you are meant to explore, you're meant to be somebody that discovers new things. But I also feel that you are yourself a healer, and in 2024 it may be that your healing abilities come out more. You may already be in a healing area of life, you may already be giving healing to people, but I feel that your healing abilities are going to shine even further in 2024. But I also feel that there's going to be some self-love, some healing towards yourself, which in turn will then improve your healing for other people and help you to heal more and better. Because I do think there's some forgiveness that you need to give yourself that would come from this past life. I feel that in your past life you were extremely psychic, and I feel that what I'm getting from this past life is that you would have been somebody that people went to for wisdom and advice, but not so much in an educational type way or an academic type way. This is more about seeing and being somebody that can look into the future, that can predict things that are going to be happening in advance. And I feel as this female in this past life that one of your main areas of expertise or or just the way that you lived your life was by speaking with spirit and bringing out what was necessary for the area and the people that you lived with for them to know at the time. I do feel that because of that, in 2024, that you are going to start releasing some blocks when it comes to your spiritual gifts. And I feel that your psychic ability and just your connection to spirit, and then obviously along with your healing abilities, are going to excel in 2024. I feel that there may have been a block that was created because of this past life when it comes to your spiritual gifts. And the energy that I'm getting more is, so a lot of the times, especially with people that were witches in past lives, in the current life, people will block off that energy. They will block off their connection to spirit because of fear of what could happen to them if they were to use their psychic abilities, because of what happened to them in their past life when they were a witch, and then they got found out, and then they were punished for that, and a lot of the times were killed because of that. Whereas for you, I feel in this past life, it's a little bit different. I almost want to say that I feel that although you were brilliant at what you did, and although it was a gift and you were meant to use that gift, it could be that due to the force and the, maybe I want to say cruelty really, of the people or the person who you were using your gifts for, you were forced into a place where maybe your psychic or your mystical gifts ended up being used for bad, for not such good reasons. I feel that when you were connecting with spirit, or when you were connecting to however you used your spiritual gifts, although your intention and your heart would have wanted you to use these gifts for a good reason, because I do feel that you were a good person, because of the restriction put upon you and the cruel nature of the person that was, I want to say, obviously in charge of you, who told you how to use your gifts and what they wanted them for. You were forced into using them to possibly hurt other people. So for example, I'm trying to think of an example for you. If you belong to a certain group of people and you wanted to take from another group of people for your betterment, but their loss, then I feel that the person who used to use your psychic gifts, like work for, would have asked you to do that, to tell you where they were, how you could find them, how they could, the best way that they'd be able to take from them what they wanted. And I know that there might be some people that sit there and say, well, spirit wouldn't help with that, spirit wouldn't guide with that, but it depends where you're forced into getting your guidance from. Because there is good and there is bad in everything, and we say good or bad, but really it's not good nor bad. It is just what it is. So for when you look at it neutrally like that, and it is just what it is, if the information's out there, the information's out there, and it doesn't matter which side you pull from. But in this life, I feel what's happened is that you've put a block on those abilities now, because I suppose you would have felt guilty, and you've wanted to not acknowledge that aspect of yourself, because in the past it would have led to some quite devastating consequences for others, and because you're a good soul, and because you know, would have felt bad for that and guilty about that, even though it wasn't your fault, it's kind of put a block on your gifts in this life and going forward. However, I do feel that in 2024, this is definitely something that you're going to be healing, and I feel that it's going to lead you then to using your psychic gifts and your spiritual gifts for good, and to actually help others. And so if there was any karma, that's where the karma can be rectified. Now it can be balanced. So the other thing that's coming up is that there's a need for self-care, and I mentioned that earlier. So when you're healing others, you also need to heal yourself. And I feel that you may be a beautiful healer anyway in this life. You may already know about your own healing abilities, and if you don't, then you will know soon. However, I don't feel that you're extending that enough to yourself. But I feel that once you have been able to forgive yourself from this past life and move on from that, then that's when you're going to be able to start giving yourself more self-care. Because of this as well, I do feel that you've had a bit of an inability to settle, and so this could be in a wide range of different things. This inability to really settle could be from something as big as where you live, so you could be constantly on the move, moving to new homes, always seeking new places. But it could also be smaller than that. It could be just that you, when I say smaller, it's not really smaller, is it? But just a different way of looking at that. It could be about people. You find it hard to keep relationships, so you move from person to person. Or it could be, which is something I've struggled with and something that I've had going on in my life that I've had to heal, that you take an interest in something and you can get really, really excited about it, but you find it hard to stick to it. And then before you know it, you're really excited, and before you know it, you've moved on to something else, and you're just like flipping from different thing to different thing to different thing. So just to give examples, and it doesn't have to be these things, you might find yourself hugely interested in making candles, and then you might be so interested in that you might buy all the stuff in. By the time all the stuff comes and you're about to make your first candle, you start to feel that interest starting to slide away, the excitement's going, and then before you know it, you find yourself looking at making skincare. And it doesn't have to be those two things, I'm just trying to give easy examples. And so then you're on to the next thing. That also is going to be healed in this life. And I feel that the reason that this might have been a problem, whether that be moving from house to house, person to person, or interest hobby to interest hobby, I feel there's fear attached there. So I feel it's a fear of settling. It's the only word I can think to describe it. It's the best word that I can. Spirit is sort of saying settling is enough. That is the word. It's a fear of settling. So I feel that this fear has also come from this life as this female, where you were highly psychic, and maybe that's because in this life you were always on the move. Maybe it wasn't safe, maybe life was difficult, maybe you did always have to be very much in survival mode and looking over your shoulder, or other people were looking over their shoulder for you, and you were always being told, right, it's time to move on again now, and maybe you didn't ever settle. And maybe the psychic gifts that you were using as well were constantly changing. So I'm not saying changing the gifts, so I mean changing what you were looking at. So I feel because of that spiritual gift that you had, where you'd wake up each morning, you didn't know from one day to the next what you were going to be looking at, what you were going to be So now I'm hearing the word spying on, and although it's spiritual, I suppose it is still spying. So for the survival of you and the people that are around you, you having to spy on others to spiritually, using your psychic abilities in order to be able to survive. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, we had to live how we had to live in those times, and that would have been necessary. However, that constant changing, whether it was changing where you were living or changing what you were looking at spiritually, and never really having any set focus, has kind of bled into this life. But in 2024, Spirit are asking that gets healed, and they are bringing that up for you to heal it. So what you might find is that before the healing takes place, these kind of energies come up a little bit stronger. So this need to move, this need to keep changing what your interests are, might become even more exaggerated in the beginning of 2024, because that just means it's coming up right up to the surface to be released now, so that you can heal that and move on. And when I say move on, I mean move on for good. So move to your permanent place, find the place that you want to be, whether that's in your home, in a person, in an area of interest. The other thing is that you might also find that you may even neglect yourself a little bit more at the beginning of 2024, because again, that is coming up for healing. So it might be that you start the year with little self-care, no sort of self-care at all, not treating yourself. And when I say self-care, I don't necessarily mean the normal hygiene. I just mean, how are you feeling today? And if you find yourself feeling a bit low, then honouring yourself and giving yourself space, giving yourself time. Well, I can't do that task today, I don't feel right, and giving yourself a salt bath, like it says on here, that kind of thing. And it might be that you do neglect that a little bit in the beginning of 24, but that again is because it is going to be coming up to be released. And I do feel that by the end of the year, you're going to have a bit of a brilliant kind of self-care routine going on, and you're really going to look at this area of your life, and you're going to start really looking after yourself and giving yourself more love and nourishment in the areas that you need. The way I see it is, if your friend was poorly, if they were ill, what would you do? Would you take them flowers? Would you make them chicken soup? Would you run them a bath? How would you help your friend? And look at how you would help your friend, and then extend that love to yourself. So if you're feeling a bit under the weather, then run yourself a bath, eat some chicken soup, watch Netflix, do what you need to do. I do feel that in 2024, your interest in spirituality is, because your gifts start to come out more, your interest is going to kind of soar more as well. And so this is going to help a little bit with the finding something that takes your interest and makes you excited more permanently. And I do feel that you are a very spiritual person, and when your spiritual blocks kind of remove and release, and you do start to look more, you start to feel a bit more psychic, and you start to be able to do the things from this past life a little bit more, then one of the areas of interest for you, I do feel, is actually going to be past life work. I do see you healing people through past lives, whether that actually starts in 2024 or whether that's a bit later on, but you get the interest in 2024, and it will be different for everybody. Some people might start working on past life work straight away, other people might just get the interest and start looking into it later, but that is something I feel that is going to be coming up for you. And so with that, I also feel that you're somebody that would be really good at reading the Akashic records, and I feel that if you look into the Akashic Records, that is an area that you may become extremely interested in, because that will also talk about people's karma, their life purpose, their soul family, what they've got coming up for healing. So what's in their record, what in that individual's record that needs healing in them. And I feel that's a way that you're going to actually be able to help heal other people, and how you'll enjoy doing that kind of healing. And I feel that you'll be very good at it. There could be a house move coming up for you. If not a house move, there could be a change in career. So looking back at what we spoke about, the change, it could be that you end up actually opening a spiritual business. It doesn't have to be. It really doesn't. But I do feel that if not for main career, you do a spiritual business, I do feel that you will be working spiritually on the side. I do feel that's very important for you. And I feel it's something that will make you really happy. And it will also in turn give you a lot of healing. I also feel that you are going to be looking at healing in a different kind of way. So I feel your healing is going to be very creative in the way in which you heal other people. It's going to involve sound or art, or even this, like readings, doing tarot readings. I know these are oracle cards, I will get tarot out in a minute, but reading with cards. You can do healing readings, and the Akashic Records readings are very healing too. So I feel that's how you're going to be sort of like using your healing abilities. I also feel that the sun is very important for you as well, and I feel that the need to get out in the sun is being highlighted here too. I know that not everywhere at the moment is particularly sunny. Where I am, it's really dark and grey and it's raining. But when you can, and when the sun is shining, I feel that getting out in the sun is going to be really good for you. And just keep an eye on your vitamin D levels. That's just come through, which would also be in connection with the sun. For a small group, if you're here, and I only mean a small group because it's not going to apply to everybody. If there are any of you out there that have been feeling a little bit depressed, maybe anxious, your mental health has took a bit of a knock, I'm just hearing this could be down to vitamin D. Get your vitamin D levels checked. You may need to, especially if it's not sunny where you live, you may need to supplement. I'm not a doctor and I don't give medical advice. I'm just saying what Spirit is showing me. But that is coming up. But also with the sun being important too, another area of spirituality that's coming up here to be spoke about that you might be exploring in 2024 is astrology. I feel with this past life, however you did your psychic work, the psychic work that you did and used, I feel you used the sun a lot. I feel that the sun was very important in your work, and I feel that the stars also were important. And that is, once you've come into 2024 and you've healed this, that's going to come up to the surface to be used again. So I really feel that this life, it has put a lot of blocks on you spiritually, but you are supposed to be here to do spiritual work. And I feel that past life work, Akashic Records work and astrology are big areas of interest for you in 2024, and areas where you'll do well. And like I've already said, I don't just mean in a predictive nature. I feel that when you look into these areas and you work in these areas, it's going to be to give healing. It's going to be to use astrology to heal others, to help people heal what needs to be healed within them. I'm going to pull some tarot. Yeah, so I don't feel that, I know in the beginning of the reading I said, were you creating, were you making the rules, or were you the one that was abiding by them? I do feel you were abiding by the rules because of more to do with your rank, but I don't feel you were, I still feel you were of quite high status. I still feel you were highly regarded. So I definitely feel you were female, but I do feel that you were quite high up in your home, in the area you lived. But there would have been somebody higher than you. And you, even though you were born into a bloodline that would have meant that you possibly could have had some kind of royal status, you still didn't make the rules, and you didn't necessarily agree with everything that your rule makers were asking of you and of the people. I don't like to. So as well, I feel that going back to you and healing, and how you're going to be healing. There's also something coming up here as well about once you step into this energy of self-care, giving to yourself, finding what it is that makes you happy, that excited, passionate, what it is you're passionate about, or finding your home where you want to live, and you are settled in that area. I also feel that you're going to start looking into sort of ancient knowledge and ways of healing, and I feel that you're going to be part of a movement about bringing back the old ways of healing, and instead of looking so much at what we have now, as in going to the doctors and how we heal nowadays, you're going to be looking at old ways and ancient kind of healing techniques, and looking to the earth and what the earth provides, and how we can heal from the earth. Things that have been kind of taken away from us and not used so much now, and things that, and I feel that it's a little bit about telling the truth as well. So it's about taking this inspired action to get this out to other people, to help other people know and see how the earth provides everything we need to heal ourselves. And I feel that that's going to become a big part of your life in 2024 too. And you'll be taking this knowledge from your past life, and even though you'll be researching in this life to find that knowledge, sometimes I feel that we think we learned something, and it might very much look like we're learning something, but I don't think it is always that case. Sometimes I think it's more that we're remembering something, and I feel that that energy is something that you're going to be feeling very much in 2024. You're going to find new things, especially around ancient healing styles, and it's going to look very much like you're learning it, but deep down you're going to know that actually you're remembering this, and that's why it's so easy for you to learn, because you're not actually learning it, you're just remembering it. And I feel that feeling of remembering something, you're gonna have that moment in 2024, and hopefully look back at this reading and think, oh, that's what she was on about. But this is coming from this past life. So when I spoke about karma earlier, there could be a little bit of karma that needs to play out, and I feel that this has been resolved now, and that's why it's going to be healed in 2024. So we have the World card here, and that talks about endings, completion as well. So I do feel that some kind of karmic cycle that you have been in, that you've had to sort of move through, that you've had to play out, that you've had to get past, is wrapping up now, and it is coming to an end. That cycle has been broken, and you are free to sort of move on and take care of yourself. So that would have played out differently for everybody. That would be a whole nother reading, but in your own way, this karma would have been played out. It would have been done. I feel it's been put to bed, and this allows you to forgive yourself. It allows you to release blocks, and it allows you to move on and settle. I'm getting it again. So, which is, so we have this card here, and she's happy, she's content, she's settled. Yeah. But this in turn also helps you to give to others. So if you look there, is it rabbits? I think they're rabbits. The rabbits are keeping the lady warm, but in turn the lady's keeping the rabbits warm. So what you do to heal yourself will also, you'll be able to use that to help other people. See all these. So then, like I've already said, this card here with the moving, you are going to be making a decision. There's a big decision that's coming up, and it's a focused decision. So you're going to decide, this is it, this is where I'm settling now, this is what I want to do, where I want to be. And I do feel there's a really, really good new idea coming in for you when this life is healed. And this new idea is you're gonna take this new idea. You're gonna have the idea in 2024, but you're gonna stick with it, you're gonna settle with it, you're gonna keep it, and you're gonna start working on it, and it's gonna be something that you take into. Sorry about that, my door just knocked, so I had to pause the video for a second. So yeah, I feel that there's an idea coming in now that you will focus on, that you will stick to, and that you'll feel this in 2024, and you will take it out of 2024 and continue it on into the years to come. And I feel it's something that is going to be around all of what we spoke about. Whether it's a new hobby that you stick with, or it's a business idea. I'm going to pull another card, one last card, just to see. Maybe two. It could be an idea that you've already had in the past, but it comes back up, and it's something that this time you struggled to juggle with the rest of your life in the past, that you gave up on for some reason, that you didn't feel worked out. But going forward, after the healing that happens in 2024, it's something that you are going to now be able to stick to, and it's going to be able to give you a lot of happiness and success, that you're gonna achieve and reach where you want to be with it. So yeah, it could be that it's something that you have already looked into, but maybe gave up on. Something that didn't necessarily work out. It doesn't have to be, but for some of you it will be. And for some of you, there could be two things that come up, two things that you quite fancy looking into again, or starting again. But whatever it is, I do feel it's going to bring you a lot of happiness, a lot of opportunity, and it's going to provide you, it could even provide you with financial stability. So I do feel it's something around making money. I do feel it's something around career or a business idea. I know I said I was only pulling one more card, but look back to what you was into when you were younger. There's something from the childhood, not necessarily even childhood, it could be from when you were a teenager, something that you wanted to be when you grew up, or something that you was really interested in, made you really happy. Maybe people said, "Oh, that'll never make you any money," or maybe the way that your life panned out, it was just not a possibility to do that. But I would suggest looking back at what you were interested in, what made you excited when you were younger, because I feel that might be what's coming back up now for you to re-look at. And I do think you could be very successful, and it can it will make you very happy. So that's all for you, Power One. I hope you enjoyed your reading. Hi, Power Two. So if you chose the duck, this is your reading. So we're looking at what past life is coming up to be released and healed in 2024 for you. So we have, I'm not sure how to say this, Archangel Sariel, improving relationships, gracefully aging, gossip, Sonia, and Sonia reads, I bring you a message from a deceased loved one. I am happy, at peace, and I love you very much. Please don't worry about me. Facade and great fortune. Okay, so the past life that I'm picking up on here for you, like pile one, I feel again that in this life you were female. So it doesn't matter whether you're male or female in the life that you live today. In this particular life, I pick up female energy, so you were a woman, a female. But unlike pile one, I want to only go back a short amount of time. So I feel the energies of this past life are coming more from the recent past. When I say recent past, I mean 1800s to very early 1900s, possibly like a Victorian era. I'm not saying that you would have had to have been, no, actually I think I am. Yeah, so I feel with this life, I'm picking up on a life that you would have had in England in the Victorian times, and you were female. And I feel what happened in this life is that you would have got to an age, and possibly like the menopause age, and things would have started to go a little bit wrong for you. I do feel you were married in this life, and I do feel that due to age and due to hormones going through menopause, what's happened in this life is that you've become very unhappy, and I feel there's been like accusations thrown around, especially from maybe your partner or your husband as you were female, to suggest that you were going crazy. You may have even been put away, locked up in a mental institution, when really all that was happening was a very natural and normal part of life. You were going through your menopause, but because there wasn't a lot of awareness then, and things were very different back then, you were not looked upon in the best way, and you could have been put away. I feel that this like rippled out into your life today, and what's happened is it's not allowed you to show your true self, because you're scared subconsciously that if you are your true self and that you appear as who you really are, then people won't like that, which is not true. It's just that because of the experience in this past life in the Victorian times, where you were being yourself, but for being yourself you ended up being labelled as mentally ill or not nice, not right, and the people that loved you, the people that were meant to take care of you, such as your husband, were the ones that actually dealt you the worst cards by putting you into a place where you certainly wouldn't have been yourself, and it would have felt very much like punishment. So in your life in 2024, in your life today, the person that you are now, you could be male, you could be female, that's irrelevant. But this past life is going to be coming up to be healed, and that is so that you can now live your life authentically, so that you're not having to change yourself for other people, and know that the true you will be accepted by other people. You may even, and this is only going to apply to a small amount of you for obvious reasons, it's not going to apply to everybody, but you could even be going through menopause yourself. That could be something that's coming up for you now anyway, and maybe that's frightening you a little bit because of the energies that are coming through from this past life, that remembering on a subconscious level and what happened then. But I do feel that if that is your case and that is happening for you, this time it's going to be very different, and you're going to be able to come to a place where you honour yourself and you do your research and you provide yourself with the care that you need, and you seek out that care from where you need to get it, to be able to transition in this time period much better and in a better place and much more happier. But also with the people around you that you love, who are supporting you rather than going against you. I do feel that in this life that you're living today, there have been some relationship issues that have been happening, and this could be relationships with lots of people. So it may be that you do struggle to form relationships, or even if you don't struggle to form relationships, you may struggle to keep them. I feel that there was one very special person that you had in your life, and it will be different for everybody. It could be a parent, a sibling, a friend, but I do feel that there was one special person in your life today that you may have recently lost, and it might not have even been recently, but that you don't have with you any longer. But just know you do have them with you, and that's why this card has came out, to say that they are here and they are supporting you. You might not be able to see them, but they are around and they do love you, and whatever you decide, they are cheering you on and they will be supporting you through that. But I feel it is time now for you to actually start embracing your true self, your authenticity, and understanding that you are enough, you are brilliant, and that the people that are right and the people that you need actually by your side are the people that will see that and already know that. But I feel it's also about repairing some relationships on the earth round now with people who are currently around you. So in this life, in the Victorian life, I do feel that there would have been, if not more than one, but definitely one relationship that would have been quite damaged because of this time and this life and what you went through and what they did to you. And I feel that this person, whoever that is, that you would have had this life with in the Victorian time, is actually in your life today, and they are around you now. And I feel that it's in this life that you are supposed to heal that relationship. So if you can think who that might be, because it's going to be different for everybody, and it doesn't have to be the person that you're in a romantic relationship with. They could have come back in this life to you as any kind of relationship, or a friend even. Could even be a neighbour. But there is a relationship that has came from this past life into your life today, because it needs healing and it needs to be released. And we'll have a look at the tarot in a minute to see how you might be doing that. I do want to say as well the importance of you being your true self, because I am strongly getting that you are here to do something quite important. And whether that be the job you do, whether that be the family that you have, whatever it is for you, you are meant to do something of great significance in this life that's going to leave excuse me, that's going to leave a lasting effect on other people to come. And it can provide you and will provide you with great fortune if you let it. But in order to get to this place and to be able to live your true life purpose and be who you're supposed to be who you truly are, you do need to heal the relationship with this one person, but also your relationship with yourself. And know that you've got to find your true self again. So it's about being as authentic as you can and honouring that part of you, that side of you, honouring your own authenticity, in able to go out into the world and live your purpose, which in turn will bring you the rewards that you deserve. That there is an energy of, even with your closest people, I feel at times, and even with yourself, not being honest with yourself about who you truly are, which can cause a lot of upset and hurt and anxiety, depression. But I feel that is going to be released in 2024, so that you can feel happier and you can get on with your life and see the joy in things. I do feel that in this past life, in the Victorian times, it would have been a very difficult life for you, and there would have been a reason for that. Your soul would have chosen that life for a reason. That would have been about your soul growth, and there was obviously something you needed to learn in that life. And that is going to be coming up to be healed in 2024. I'm going to pull some tarot. I do feel that in the life that you live today, I almost feel like there's a split. So I do feel that the first half of your life that you're now living isn't necessarily meant to be easy. It has been about clearing out these old patterns and these old beliefs that don't serve you and are not true, that have come from this Victorian past life. But I do feel that the second half of your life is meant to be amazing. And so it is a very dualistic life, because you have both, but you don't have bits of bad and bits of good throughout the life you're living now. I feel it is very, very 50-50 split down the middle. So growing up, being a teenager, even your 20s, might not be the easiest time for you. But I feel that as you age, that's when life starts to become better, that you start to see improvements, and they may come in slowly, But it's when you get older, and I don't mean older, I just mean, you know, middle-aged type sort of time. It could be a bit earlier for some of you. Everybody's going to be different. But you will see the other side of the coin in the later, in the second half of your life. So it's kind of, in a way, it's like you get all your troubles and you're upset and you hurt and the bad out of the way in the beginning, and then so at the end you can enjoy the last bit, you can enjoy the second half. And I do feel you've got a lot of opportunities and a lot of happiness that is to come for you. And you may already be feeling that, you may already be in this part of your life, but if you're not, then please just have excitement and take happiness in the knowing that that is to come, that will happen for you, and life isn't always going to be difficult, that things are going to improve because it's meant to. We've just got to clear this first bit to make room for that to come in. I also want to say that when it comes to healing relationships, whether you're male or female, and for some of you it will be different, but for a lot of you, I do feel that it's actually females that you need to heal with, because although it was your husband in your past life that would have hurt you and would have had you put into a mental home, I feel that you've almost sort of put the blame though on the females around you. It's almost like, well, it's a female thing to go through menopause, and so you're blaming the female energy. So that what I feel I'm trying to say here is that there will be some healing around the females that are around you, and it may be very subconscious. You may not even know you do it, but if you struggle to make female friends, that could be a clue. Whether you're male or female, if you always have male friends and you don't get on well having female friends, then I feel that might be a clue to that. But I do feel there's going to be a lot of reconciliation and forgiveness towards the female energy in this life. So in 2024, I do feel there'll be a lot of divine feminine healing going on, and that also extends to yourself. So I'm not just saying that you're going to heal relationships with your sister, your female friend, your mother. I almost feel that so within us we have the divine masculine and we have the divine feminine, and whether you're male or female in this life, I feel that your relationship with your divine masculine is a lot more secure, a lot more healed, and therefore maybe a lot more dominant than your relationship with the divine feminine within you. But I do feel you're going to be healing the divine feminine side of you in 2024, and that's because you'll be able to forgive the divine feminine for the fact that in this Victorian life she would have been hurt, abused, put away, not honoured, not seen, and when you heal the divine feminine in this life within you, I feel that is going to really, really propel you forward then, so that you can then live the second half of your life more authentically and fully healed. Because if there's one side of you that you're not embracing so much, then you aren't balanced. So that will allow that balance to come in, and then you will find it easier to be your true self, because your true self consists of them both, your feminine and your masculine energy. But I feel that you're living more in the masculine right now, and you're not honouring the feminine. And so therefore I feel there's also a part of you that isn't considering your own emotional health. So what I mean by that is that if somebody says something to you and you don't agree with it and it hurts you, you're not honouring that side of you, and you might just be saying, okay, that's fine, going with that, because you're not honouring your own emotional side. And I feel that that's where you would need to turn around and say, no, that I don't feel that doesn't sit right with me, and honour that side of you. I would rather not do that, or I feel you've overstepped boundaries with me here. And so I feel that you're going to be doing a lot of work on maybe putting your boundaries in place, knowing yourself. But before you do that, you've got to know what your boundaries are. So that would be about sitting with yourself and feeling into what it is that, who you truly are and what you feel, and what boundaries you want to have with other people, so that you can honour yourself. And it is going to be what then propels you into the second half, the better half of your life. And when I say second half, I don't mean it as cut and dry as you get to 45 or you get to 50 and that's when things change. You could live till you're 100. That doesn't mean at 50, up till 50 you're going to be sad, and then from 50 to 100 you're going to be really happy. You could still live to 100, but it could be that the first half could just be till you're 30, and then from 30 onwards you have the better time. Or it could go the other way. It might be that you're up to the age of 60 things aren't good, and then it gets better, but that depends on you. But as this life is coming up to be healed in 2024, whatever age you are now, I feel is when we make that step. So the bridge, it's kind of a bridge year for you. 2024 acts as a bridge year, because I feel that you're in 2024, whatever age you are, whether that's 23 or 57, I feel you're now taking that trip over the bridge, and you're going from the upset, the not so good, into the better half of your life because of the healing that occurs in 2024. So 2025 is when you're going to see the improvements, the progress, the happiness, the opportunities, the good fortune, everything coming in for you that you desire. Because in 2024 you're on the bridge, and that's where you're finding yourself, and that's where you're doing your healing. And you're not just healing with yourself, you're obviously healing with other people as well, and releasing any karmic ties that may have occurred because of this past life. But I do feel that a big element of it, other than the other people, is the healing and the improvement in the relationship you have with yourself. I also see for some of you too that when I spoke earlier about you're here to bring something really good in, to make a change, you're here for a big purpose. It's not going to be for everybody, but I am picking up for some of you, and again, you could be male or female, it really doesn't matter. I really feel that women's health is something that you are going to be looking into and advocating for. So whether that's just women's health throughout, or more specifically around the menopause. And I know at the moment there's a lot of talk around menopause, and it's a really big subject, because for years and years and years there was no awareness, and it didn't get the attention or the research or the work that it needs. And you still go to your doctor these days and they haven't got a clue, and you end up knowing more than the doctor does. And if you're a doctor, I don't mean to sound, I'm not putting anybody down, but it's not the doctor's fault, it's to do with the training. I'm not sure how it is worldwide, but I know in the UK and in America that women are really struggling with their GPs, with their general practitioners, and getting the help they need around menopause, because the GPs don't necessarily have to do all of the training that around menopause, or it's not even available. But there's some brilliant people out there now that are advocating for people going through this transition, and more awareness is coming out about it, which it's about time. And for some of you, not all of you, but some of you, again, male or female, I feel that you are going to be advocating in that area and doing research in that area and getting the word out about that. And even if it's not necessarily just menopause, maybe just hormones and how hormones affect us. So in pile 1, it came up that if their mental health is struggling, it may be down to the fact that they need some vitamin D. And vitamin D is actually a hormone. But not many people would gravitate to that. They'd think, my mental health suffering, I need some antidepressants. But it might not be. I went through a good 6 months feeling absolutely awful, really anxious, really depressed, and I couldn't put my finger on why. And it ended up being because my vitamin D levels were low, like very low. And as soon as I took the vitamin D, it was prescribed by a doctor. And you don't always have to have it prescribed. I mean, you can supplement. It depends how low your levels are. But I started to feel better straight away. And I feel that this area, hormones, menopause, women's health, and I know men have hormones too, I feel it could be an area that a lot of my pile 2s look into and start a movement around. And that could be what I was talking to you about at the beginning of the reading, when I said about you're here to do something big. But it's not going to be that for everybody, and for some people you're still here to do something big, but your thing may be something different. So I am picking up as well that due to not living as your own true authentic self, and maybe because of some mental health struggles, or just not feeling as happy as you could feel, and not honouring your true self, that life could be that difficult, that there may have been for some of you some kind of escapism going on. And it doesn't have to be as big as alcohol or drugs, which it could be, and that's absolutely fine too. But it could be escapism in other areas. There's many ways that we can use it. Spirituality, I mean, it can become an escapism for some people too. There's lots of things that we can use to escape life, but for you, I don't even want to say escape life. I feel it's more escape yourself. And I do feel, I am picking up that there are some little things that you may do that aren't necessarily serving you, because you're using them as escape method, but from yourself, which in turn would mean escaping life too. But I don't think that the primary reason for the escapism is necessarily life. I feel it's more about you and yourself, escaping oneself. And this just leads to even more to not honouring yourself and giving yourself the care that you need and the love that you need, and being able to receive that from others. And so, and even then, when it comes to our relationships with other people, how can another person who loves you truly honour you and give you what you need when you aren't being your true self? And because they don't know the true you, if you don't know the true you and you aren't embracing the true you, then the true you isn't there to be served by another. And I do feel that is going to be healed as well in 2024. I feel there's a lot of forgiveness around yourself and this life and what happened to you, and it wasn't your fault, and there's an understanding around that it wasn't your fault, and that's what's going to be healed in 2024 for you. But it's going to lead to good things, that you have got a really, really beautiful, successful future awaiting you. And like I said, this is the bridge year. This is the year you do the healing. But then going forward after that. Now, see, I've just noticed as well, it's just really, really drew my attention in about the 26 on this card. For some of you, it could be the 24, 25, both those years could act as bridge years, and then 26 is when you get that reward. I'm kind of feeling that 24 is the healing year, the bridge year, where we heal this past life, this Victorian life. But then 25, we start to work on what we want, what it is that we're here to do, our life purpose. We start working on that. But then in 2026, you will be seeing the rewards of that and the benefit of that, and the success and opportunities coming in for you, and the recognition that just popped into my head like really loud. I think that was important to say. So this person that you've been hiding from not just the world, but from you yourself, is going to get huge recognition in 2026. But it's not necessarily the person that you portray to the world right now. It's the real you, with the divine feminine healed, with the divine masculine and divine feminine balanced, and it's the true you who, so we can then sort of turn this card round from this to this, where she is loved, she is taken care of, and I'm only saying she because it's a she in the picture, but it's reciprocated in her relationships with others. You give to them and they give to you, and it's authentic. And this, I feel, is going to be what's going to be shown to you in 2026 from the work you do in 24 and in 25. So that was your reading, pile 2, and I hope you enjoyed that. Hi, pile 3, this is your reading. So if you chose the whale, we have authority figures distrust. Celeste, a happy move to a new home or place of employment is in the works. This movement would usher in positive new energy. Spiritual growth. Wounded child or child wounded. Instinct and main female. So the past life I'm picking up for you, pile 3, I want to take you back to the medieval times. So a long time ago. I feel that in this life, the energy that's coming through is you as a child. Sadly, I don't feel that you would have lived being past the child, and I feel that you would have died very young in this life. And I also feel that your mother in this past life, so who your mother was in the past life, in the medieval times, was a big influence in this life. The energies that I'm getting is that as this little boy or little girl in this past life, you obviously relied heavily on your mother to take care of you. I don't feel that your father was around. I feel it was you and your mom. I don't see any other siblings either. But what I see is I feel that your mom may have got into trouble for doing something to keep you and her alive. So possibly stealing or something in that kind of area in order to survive, basically, because I feel you wouldn't have had a lot of money and life would have been really difficult. But I feel you were really close to your mom in this life. But unfortunately, it's so sad, but I feel that because she got found out, she would have been punished. And I see her being removed and taken away from you. And then in this life, I feel that you would have been looked after by people that weren't your family. Whether it was neighbours or whether you went to, I mean, I don't know what they did in those days, whether it was place you would have gone to be cared for, but you didn't get the love and the care that you would have deserved and needed. And I feel that that led to you dying very young in this life, in the medieval times. And that's the life that's coming through in 2024 to be healed within you. I feel that what's happened is that life has led you into this life, and the energies that you've got to heal in this life are around trust, especially around authority figures or caregivers. I'm not saying necessarily towards your own parents in this life, although it could be, but I mean, you could have a brilliant relationship with your parents in this life, but it could be teachers, it could be police officers, but authority figures or caregivers of some sort, and there's a distrust around that and them. But I do feel that what this has done for you is, so even though this past life in the medieval times would have been extremely difficult and a very traumatic life for you, it would have been, you would have lived that life for a reason. Your soul would have chosen to live that life, and because there would have been some soul growth in it. And I do feel that it has given you a lot of soul growth, and it's put you in a place in this life today where I feel in a way you could become, or you already are, an authority figure or a caregiver of some kind, because you have an empathy, especially for children who may be struggling in this life. And I feel that's your area, and I feel that in 2024 you start to embrace that more and embody that energy, because spiritually you've been able to learn so much from that past life that it's put you in a place where you can empathise with others. So I do feel you are an empath, and I do feel that you have a lot of emotional intelligence. I do feel that there is a move coming up for you, possibly in 2024, maybe after. You could just start thinking about it in 2024, or it could be happening in 2024. This could be a house move, but I want to say more career. It could be house, but I feel that the energies around this are more about your career. So changing jobs, changing career. And I feel it is you moving into a role where you are giving care to others. And when I say, sorry, my throat chakra, and I feel that the reason I'm getting that little cough is because your voice needs to be heard. You are the voice of other people. You are the voice of, you are going to become the voice of people who can't necessarily voice for themselves. So you're going to advocate for children or disabled people, or maybe people who are living in poverty. You could be getting into charity work. I really do feel that you, although I don't feel authority figure is the right word, or the right saying, but it will be an aspect of authority figure, because I do feel you're going to be in charge of leading a movement or a charity, or just something to help other people. I do want to lean more towards children, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. This is just happening because of your empathic nature, because of your ability to see things from the perspective of another and to feel what they may be feeling. But because of the life in the medieval times, and I feel also because of the love that your mother would have given you before she was taken from you, even though that was such a short amount of time and you only had a few years with her, I feel that she was an absolutely amazing mom, and she loves you very much, and you knew that, and you felt that love, and you always felt, even though you were living a lot of the time in survival mode, you always felt very taken care of. And then when she was removed, I feel that you even more understood then the importance of that energy and having that energy in your life. And so in 2024, you will have bought into, from this life into your next, into 2024. Sorry, can't get, see, it's the throat chakra. You will have brought that energy into 2024 to be able to show the importance of needing another to take care of the vulnerable. So I feel that my throat chakra is a little bit all over the place, because I don't think you're there yet. Okay, I think you have the empathy, and I think you've got a lot of emotional intelligence, but you're not using your voice yet. I feel at the moment that is still being restricted, and that maybe it's 2024 where your voice is going to suddenly finally start to be heard. And this could be something that you've been wanting and waiting for. But I do feel that you as a person are going to make a difference in 2024. I don't know what that bang was, sorry. But eventually, finally, what you feel so passionate about, and what you love so much, and what you care so much about, is going to be able to be expressed in 2024. And I feel that that's because of this life is coming up to be released and be healed in that time. And although we're talking about healing mainly in this reading, and about which past life is coming up to be healed, there are always going to be those nuggets and elements of that past life that have really, really spurred you on and given you that spiritual growth that you can still use in this life today. I feel that the fact that the healing around this life is about to be done in 2024 is what allows your throat chakra to finally open and your voice to be heard. Because in this life as well, there's definitely that feeling of your mom trying to explain her reasons for why she did what she did, but it just being ignored. That's not a reason. What she said wasn't listened to, it wasn't good enough, it wasn't justified. So to them, whoever was punishing her, whoever the authority figures were, it wasn't justified what she was saying. But actually, when you look at it from the bigger picture, it was her that they were serving her with injustice, because she was just trying to keep her child alive, and so her voice wasn't heard. So I do feel that there's been an energy in the past, and maybe even now, where you may have tried to even advocate for yourself. Maybe there was things that happened to you in this life that were unjustified, that weren't right, and you haven't been heard, and that you haven't been taken seriously, or you just weren't given the love and the protection or support around a particular childhood trauma or a teenage trauma in this life. But that has also helped with your empathic side, but it's also led to you not being heard like your mother wasn't, and therefore your throat chakra not being able to be fully activated. But in 2024, I do feel that is going to change. And if you're waiting for some kind of justice around something that may have happened to you, I feel you're going to receive that in 2024. And that doesn't necessarily have to come in the form of going to court and somebody being in trouble for what you did, or it could be that. It could even be just, or not just, but that you get an apology, or other people acknowledge. And I think acknowledgement's a big thing. So even without the apology, sometimes what happened to us, as long as other people acknowledge that it wasn't right, it wasn't fair, that propels us forward with our healing, because sometimes all we want is that acknowledgement. We don't even care about the sorry or what happens to a person, whether they get into trouble or not, but it's about other people acknowledging our pain and our right to have been in pain. And I feel that might be coming up for you in 2024. So you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel acknowledged. It's the acknowledgement around something that may have happened to you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be childhood. It can be any time. It can be, if you're older, it could be something that happened to you in your 30s. It could be around anything. But that acknowledgement, I do feel you're going to be getting. And it may never be the acknowledgement of the person that caused you harm, but it might be acknowledgement of family members, people close to you, people that have never really acknowledged it before. Or it might be just, and I say just, and I don't mean to keep saying just, because it isn't just, because it's just as important. It could be even that you go into therapy and a therapist acknowledges what happened wasn't right. Because I feel like up until now, for some of you or a lot of you, it feels that something that happened to you just hasn't been seen for being wrong, hasn't been acknowledged, and the only person that has acknowledged it has been yourself. But I feel you'll be receiving that acknowledgement of somebody else in 2024, because you'll be healing this life, and this life, that's what this life, the release of this life, that provides that space for you to receive that acknowledgement. And then that's where I feel you'll be going forward to help other people who are vulnerable, that have been hurt. And again, I do feel children, but it doesn't have to be. It could be animals. It could be whatever area you feel drawn to and you're passionate about. So we have the child card here, but we have the instinct card here, and it's got wolf on it. So it could be animals, or it could be whatever it is that you're passionate about. It will be different for everybody. But I do think this is going to encourage a moving career, a moving job. You'll be doing something different. And it could also be a moving where you live. So I'm going to pull some tarot cards. Do feel there's a celebration coming up for you, and that could be around your new a career move, maybe a new position, such as a promotion. I am getting that for some people that in the workplace you haven't been given the acknowledgement, that word, for how good you work, for your work, for what you do, the effort you put in. And it's almost like you just haven't been seen. But I feel that's also, if you're happy in your job and you're not planning on moving to another job, that there could be finally somebody higher up saying, actually, we've really been impressed with this and this that you have done, and for the first time you actually feel seen and appreciated for the work that you put in. And I feel it could lead to a better position. So even if it's not a complete change of career, it could just be a better position within your work. And if your work has nothing to do with seeking justice for or advocating for more vulnerable areas of life, then this could just be something that you do on the side, because I do see that heavily coming in for you. do see an improvement in your finances too. So I don't feel that whatever the work is that you'll be doing, especially around this area, is necessarily for money. But I do feel it is going to allow that. It's going to provide that anyway, which is, you know, we are human, we need to eat, we want to have nice things, and so money is important. But I do feel there is going to be an improvement in your financial situation in 2024 through healing this past life. I do feel that so going back to when my throat chakra was playing up a bit earlier, I also feel that some of that restrictive energy is because of not because of, but is causing little to no opportunities coming in for you, a little bit of stagnation, a little bit of everything you try, nothing seems to go right. And I feel that energy as well is lifting in 2024. And I feel that you are going to start having more opportunities coming in for you, and you're going to be very, very pleased and appreciative of that, because I feel that you are going to be provided with a lot more blessings in 2024 because of healing this life and this energy. I also feel that there may be a relationship that needs to be healed, and that's going to be coming up for healing in 2024. Can be a romantic relationship, but it doesn't need to be. But I do feel that if you've got a relationship with somebody at the moment that's not very good, I do feel that there's going to be some kind of reconciliation or just some healing around a certain relationship in 2024. And it could be some healing around a relationship with a person who may have been involved earlier on with some kind of trauma that you may have gone through. I'm not saying the person that caused the trauma, but maybe could have been around at the time. Maybe the lack of acknowledgement around that situation caused this relationship to become quite distant. But I do feel that you are going to be healing that. Also healing this past life as well, where you were in this survival mode and you didn't have a lot. I do feel that because that's been healing, it's going to take you out of lack mentality as well, because I feel that lack energy, that lack mentality has rippled into this life that you're living now. And so you may have found it difficult to have abundance in this life just due to you, and you may not have known why. You may have just thought, well, I do all the things I'm meant to do, but it never comes to me. But it is because of this life where you had to survive, you had to live in survival mode. But with that being healing, abundance is going to start coming in for you, and you are going to be a lot better off. And I feel that lack mentality is going to shift. And then finally, I do feel that if you've got a wish, a desire, something that you've been dreaming of, whether it's a job, whether it's a person, whether it's just whatever it could be anything for any of you, and it's going to be different for everybody. But I do see a big wish, a big goal or a big wish or a big dream coming through for you in 2024. And it was all about clearing this. We needed to clear this energy because it was still impacting on your life today, this past life from the medieval times. And this is going to be healed and cleared in 2024, which then in turn allows the abundance, the wishes, the better relationships to all come in. I feel that the relationship is possibly with a female. So whether you're male or female, that doesn't matter. But the person that you're going to be healing a relationship with, not for everybody, but for the majority of you, is going to be with a female. And I almost feel like I'm hearing the word surrender. So I do feel that oh dear, I do feel that this lady comes in to surrender, to say, I'm sorry, you were right about something. Or just give that acknowledgement that we spoke about earlier, that you deserve and that you should have. And I do feel that's coming in for you because of the healing around this medieval life here. And don't forget your wish, a big wish coming through for you in 2024. So that's it for you, pile 3, and I hope you enjoyed that.